Hey everyone, hope everyone's had a great holiday or new year by now. So in this video, I want to be going over the things I learned in 2022 and just let you guys, reflect on what I've learned so maybe you guys can learn something as well or take a little bit from what I'm saying. The number one thing that I learned this year, which I'm gonna take my little notes that I have down here to make sure that there's some type of order to the video and I don't just ramble on and on. First things first is I set up a more consistent and realistic routine that aligned with the type of person I am, and it worked around my weaknesses and my strengths as well to make sure that this is something that I could accomplish on my worst day and my best day, because I think it's very important to show up and put in the work, especially on your bad days, as it is important to show up on your best days. So the first things first is going to be creating a realistic routine that it's something that you could replicate over and over again, day in, day out, no matter whether it's a good day, bad day, busy day, slow day, whatever the case might be. And I only say that because it's something I struggled with for a very long time, and 2021 was definitely not like this, right? 2022 was a way better year in the sense that I was way more consistent with the goals that I worked towards, as well as the discipline that I had. Now, the second thing that I would say that I learned from 2022, and I'm just trying to list some things that are very important that I learned. Of course, there are many, many more things that I did learn throughout 2022, but that would be like a 2-hour video if I went through all those things. The second thing is going to be limiting distractions. I had a lot of distractions in the beginning of 2022. A lot of video games, a lot of me going out for no reason and doing dumb things during the week when I should have been working and honing in on the skills and business work that I had to do. So I made sure that what I did, well, these are some small things you could do, is I was a big person of just being on my phone way too long and just not being productive on my phone, right? Because there's nothing wrong with being on your phone as long as it's productive work, whether it's, scheduling meetings, whether it's reaching out to clients, whether it's following leads, whether it's answering important texts or calls that you have to get to, or, if you're an influencer or social media person, making sure that your social media content is getting posted accordingly and have a plan towards that. So what I did to limit some of my distractions was hide my TikTok, hide my Instagram, hide my Facebook, hide a bunch of other stuff that I was like really tapping into, like Twitter and things like that. So what I would do is I would just open up little folders on my phone and put all the stuff that I didn't need immediate direction or my focus on. I would just put in those folders. So when I first look at my phone, it was like, oh crap, I don't know where this thing's at. So I just didn't bother and I'd get back to work. Obviously, you don't need to do this if you're more disciplined than me, but that was just something that I had to do in order to get better and just ignore those things. Obviously now I could have it on my phone and I don't really care because I know that between this time and this time, I got to work on the things I got to do. Sometimes it does require phone work and there's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, as long as it's productive work, then it's good, it's progression. Now, the third thing is getting rid of the inner bitch. Now, that's a little easier said than done. And what I mean by inner bitch is that person that always hits the snooze button, that person that says, you know what, maybe today I'm not going to hit the gym, or that person that just says, you know what, today's a chill day. And you got to get rid of that. Not forever, but you have to know how to manage it and deal with it and essentially get rid of it. So my biggest thing is I have an ego. And back then I would hit the snooze button. I still do every now and then, but I make sure that it works with my schedule. Some days I'm less busy than other days, so I can afford to sleep in a little bit more. On the days that I know I cannot afford to sleep more, that inner bitch doesn't exist. That frankly, I'm up when I gotta be up and I do what I gotta do. And frankly, that's just the person you should be. If you're, same way for a guy and a girl, you should conquer your weakness and try to play at your strengths. So I tell myself whatever I got to tell myself in order to get out of bed or do the things I got to do. Getting rid of the inner bitch was also part of getting rid of the distractions on my phone, as well as not going out when I should be going out. So I just tried myself, essentially. I'm a very egotistical person when it comes to small things. So basically, I'm like, hey, look, like who are you betting on this time? Are you betting on yourself or are you betting on the other guy, the inner bitch, right? Like you don't want to deal with that shit. Like that's just, why do you want to be less of a person that you could possibly be? You want to be the best version of you. And in order to be the best version of you, you have to put in the work. There is no exception towards this. All right. You can't be the best version of you and be in bed till 12, 1 o'clock. Now, kind of a hypocrite because I do that on Saturdays and Sundays. Those are just my rest days, but I still do a lot of work. With that said, I'll still work on a Saturday or Sunday till 1, 2 in the morning, getting all the stuff done that I have to get done or stuff that I didn't get done early in the morning when I needed to get done. Now, of course, this is all going to go down to your schedule and your routine. So it's going to align with your first one, with your first thing that I learned. The second thing I learned, which was, you know, being realistic with my schedule. Second was was limiting my distractions. And then the third, obviously getting rid of the little bitch. So get rid of that monster, don't deal with it, or learn how to deal with it and play at your strengths and try to mitigate the weaknesses that you have. Now, the fourth thing is going to be realizing the end goal. This is something that a lot of people don't realize and get mixed up in the journey. They just work, and they don't realize what the end goal actually is. Whether it's a big fancy house, a couple fancy cars, a crazy lifestyle, going out every day, popping bottles, so on and so forth. You got to sit down and, you know, meditate and talk to yourself and say, hey, look, what am I doing this for? What's the end goal? What am I trying to get at, right? Because it's very important. Without having an end goal in sight and knowing how you're going to get there, it's never going to happen, or it's always going to be too far away for you to actually want to pursue it, right? Because let's say you could say, I want to make $1 million by the end of the month. And if you're currently only making $200 a day or $100 a day, that's clearly not going to happen, right? So, but you have to have a plan in place to make sure that that does happen, and realize that it takes time. It takes time to get to these crazy goals and achievements. Not that you can't do it, and you can't, I mean, not that you can't do it, but it takes time, and it takes a plan and strategy behind it, not just you going on a whim for everything you do. So you got to realize that end goal and be motivated by the end goal. That should be your motivation. That should be your dream. That should be the pinnacle of where you want to get to. And then once you get there, you're going to obviously have a higher standard and have another goal after that, because that's just how life is. And as you get into business, you're going to realize that last year's goal isn't going to be next year's goal, right? Because you probably already surpassed that last year's goal, and you just want to be a better person and keep going, business or entrepreneur wise or family wise, relationship wise, whatever the case might be. So the fifth thing is going to be, know there's a time and place for everything. This is hard to hear for a lot of people. A lot of people do make very financially irresponsible decisions, whether it's getting that car they can't afford, whether it's going out on that vacation they can't afford, whether it's, you know, just going out too much and spending too much money they don't necessarily have yet. Now, it's important to say yet, because if you are one of these people, you have to understand that you're just not there yet. It doesn't mean you can't do it in the future and it's not possible. It just means that at this current moment in life, you don't have the right things in place that allow you to do the things that you kind of want to do recklessly. Now, without having discipline, it's going to be pretty tough to cut these things down. And, you know, it's all about knowing that you will get to where you want to get to, and knowing that currently at this time, you're not there yet, and you have to keep working towards that and strive towards what you want to do. So knowing that there's a place and time for everything, it's something that, you know, not that I had to learn the hard way, but I like to think through. I'm a very methodical person. I like thinking about everything I do before I do it. I like to know, you know, how's this going to affect me financially, emotionally, and how could this affect the people around me? Now, usually you might think a dumb purchase might not affect people around you, but when you have other people around you struggling, that might affect them a little bit, because you could have helped them out, right? It's not your duty to help every single person out, but when it comes to family, you know, I'm a strong proponent of, hey, if, you know, I'm in a better place and I think that I could help you out, I will help you out. I will do my best to do everything in my power to help you out and put you in a better place, whether it's emotionally, financially, or anything. That's just because it's the duty that I feel that I have. So before I do any dumb purchases, for instance, before I want to watch, car, whatever the case might be, I make sure that my mom, dad are always taken care of, or my grandparents, right? This is my immediate family. These are family that I see every day or every other day. And I make sure that they're okay. I make sure that their bills are paid. I make sure that they don't have any stress on their plate when it comes to, you know, financial stuff or emotional stuff, because before I want to go out and do something dumb, I want to make sure that the important things are taken care of. And this is very vital. A lot of new people, not new people, but a lot of younger people like making dumb purchases and, you know, flexing for the gram or whatever the case might be, and not realize that, hey, you're kind of inversely hurting your parents, right? Because if your parents are struggling to get by and they're the ones that gave you everything and worked super hard for you and did everything in their power for you to be okay and grow up in a great household, and then you just start irresponsibly spending money on things that you essentially shouldn't be, because you're just not there yet and you're not taking care of the people around you. It's not a thing that you have to do, but I think morally it's something that you should do if these people took care of you at some point. You got to pay it back, or you got to pay it forward. You know, what you give in life is what you'll get. So karma is a thing. Just take it from me, and I'm sure a bunch of other people will tell you the same thing. Karma's real. It's something that, you know, you could have good karma, bad karma. but it's just best to pay things forward and take care of the people you need to take care of. And then, you know, do whatever you want. And hey, at the end of the day, you know, not that money isn't real, but you could just make more money. At the end of the day, look at all the money they printed this year. It's very possible for you to get more and more money. Just make sure that the important things like bills, family are taken care of before you go do any of these things. Now, the last thing I want to leave you guys with is realizing purpose. Now, what I mean by realizing purpose is it aligns with your end goal, so to speak. Your end goal is going to be the place you want to get to. And the purpose, it's going to be your motivation. So for me, my purpose is family. You know, my whole goal is to retire my parents within the next year or two, where I could say, hey, you know what, here's a $100,000 salary, not for doing anything, just, you know, I want to pay this for you guys. I want to make sure you get taken care of. I want to make sure that, you know, I want to have that off my chest and off my back. Not that I'm not going to talk to them after that, but just something that I want to do, and it's a goal that I want to do, take care of my parents. That way I could do other irresponsible things and not feel bad. So take care of them. That's my purpose. That's my realization of, hey, you know, the whole goal and the whole reason of me doing this, even though I do have an end goal of crazy luxurious stuff, just because I like to find things in life, and I think that money grants you a lot of access and freedom. And we'll get onto that on another video. But my real purpose is taking care of my family, right? I want to make sure that I can provide for them and take care of them in any way, shape, way, or possible, right? Because, you know, life's hard, right? You might not realize your parents getting a little older, or your family, or maybe it's a cousin, brother, sister, aunt, whatever the case might be. It's just nice to take care of people, and that's my purpose. You know, everyone has a different purpose, and the only thing I ask for you guys is to reflect on the last year, right? See if you are where you want to be, and if you're not, that's okay. Just make sure that you learn something from this year so you can take it on to the next year and not do that. Or if you did something great this year and you blew past your goals, congratulations to you, all the power to you, keep at it. Now you have something to take forward with you that's positive, something that you know that you can keep working on and just do better with. Anyways, check the link in the description. I do have my free coursework, free signals group, website where I post all testimonials and things like that, and new services and new stuff that I am doing for a trading buddy. There are a couple of new things that are be coming out for the next year that I will touch up on another video. But for the most part, only other thing that I gotta tell you guys, I will be dropping a new set of prices for new funding programs. So I'm gonna make sure to get at least, I wanna say 20 people funded, fully funded by first six figures of a couple selected prop firms for the new year to come. That way, these 20 individuals have a six-figure account to trade with and prop from on their own. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, whatever you guys wanna do. Have a great year.